All right, so y'all spend a lot of time focusing on the branding of your business and making sure that everything just looks pretty. And let me be the first to tell you, it is important that your brand communicates and is attractive to your target market. But a lot of you are spending your time on the wrong thing. Check this out. So when you are creating your brand, you don't want to just make it look pretty. And a lot of you all are just going off of what you like, what your favorite color is, what's attractive to you, what's appealing to you. And one thing you're going to learn about branding is it's not about you. It's about your target market. So when you first start creating your brand and you first start putting everything together, you want to focus on your unique visual identity. And I'm using identity because your brand should have its own identity. Now, follow me with this. You want to focus on your logo, your color scheme, your font that you're using, your typography, and your image that you're using. I'm going to show you guys something at the very end of this video because baby, it's growth. All of that plays a major part in who you attract as a clientele. So let's start off with our logo, because a lot of you all normally start off here and a lot of you all hold on to a logo because you created it. Let that logo go. Release it. Release it. Just because you created that logo does not mean your target market loves and is attracted to that logo. That one thing could be the thing that's making your target feel like they cannot relate to you. And that may not make sense to you, but trust me, it is a thing. It is a thing. So let's start off. If you've already created your logo, cool. Let's just make sure that you have everything checked off of the list. If you have not, great. Make sure that everything that I'm about to give you is in your logo. So starting off, you want to make sure that you're keeping it simple. I had to start off with that because I feel like that was most important. Sometimes we do too much. My very first KSK logo, which is what I will show you guys at the end of this video. Stay till the end so I can break this down for you. It is extremely important for you to see, for someone who is now on her second business, how I've even gone through these things myself. But when I first started my KSK business, I didn't try to create the logo. I did get someone to create the logo, but I tried to hold on to that logo for so long because it was my baby. It was the very first logo I had, and I wanted that logo. That wasn't it. That wasn't the logo. You want to make sure that your logo makes sense and is simple. It's not too much going on. It's not too many different colors, too many different fonts, wording, all of that. You don't want any of that. You want to make sure that it is simple. You also want to make sure that it complements your brand. You have to make sure that it complements your brand. That's most important. And then you want to make sure that it's versatile, that it can be used on different backgrounds and things of that nature, because you may need to use that logo for an event that you're going to do, or you're going to be speaking at a summit of some sort. You want to make sure that that logo can be used across all backgrounds, and that is very, very versatile. That is extremely important when you have a logo. Start there with your logo. Don't try to do too much complex stuff. People, we like it simple. The saying, keep it simple, stupid. That's all. That's business in general. Just keep it simple. Everything is about keeping it simple. And like I said, you want to make sure it complements your brand, and you want to make sure that it's versatile. So if you've already done your logo and you're noticing that it may be too complex, or you're noticing that you haven't been able to use it on different backgrounds, you may want to think about getting another logo. And that's okay. I promise. All right, so next is you want to focus on your color scheme. Now, some people think that this is like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to just choose my favorite color, which is something that does not work. That does not work. Do not just choose your favorite color. You want to, and this is first and foremost, When people come to your website or when people look at your brand and they see those colors, you need to ask yourself, what do you want your audience to feel? How do you want them to feel when they see it? So in my accounting business, I wanted them to feel like they could trust me. In human psychology, there is a such thing as color. Color is a huge human psychology aspect in your branding. People really do feel certain ways when they look at different colors. In my accounting business, I wanted them to feel that I was trustworthy. I went with something on the blue end. That speaks that, hey, I am a trustworthy brand. That was very, very important to me with my accounting business. With my coaching business, I want you to think of excellence. I want you to think of classic. I want you to think of luxury and taking you to a place of where you desire to be. So I stuck with very classic colors, black and white with hints of gold. That is just what I wanted people to feel. You need to think about what you want people to feel and then base your color scheme off of that. That is extremely important because a lot of times, I'm gonna tell y'all, I use burnt orange at the very beginning of my coaching business. I'm gonna show you guys all of this. I use burnt orange in my coaching business, and it was not the move. It was not the move. Like when I seen it, I was like, that's not even how I want people to feel. Think about how you want people to feel. And then you also want to consider your audience. So if you're working with an audience that's more on the younger side, you may want to have more vibrant and bright colors. That may be more appealing and attractive to a younger crowd. Now, if you're working with an older crowd, you may want to stick with more of those classic colors, something that's not going to be too much on their eyes. Again, you need to be thinking about things like this. You cannot just choose your colors based off of what you want. You want to make sure that it's cohesive, which is huge because a lot of people are not thinking about that. You want to make sure that it can look good across all marketing platforms, not just social media, but all marketing platforms. And then you may even want to take a second and go look into some of your competitors and see what colors are they using. Can my color stand out from those colors? That's one thing I would definitely do. Try to make your color stand out. If you see that everyone is using like a red and orange or red and white in their business, how can you make your color stand out? Now, I'll be honest with you, you will have to test this stuff. You will have to see, okay, does my market like it? And you will know by if you're getting clientele or not. And don't think that 2 months is you testing it. Sometimes it may take 6 months to a year. Sometimes it may take longer than a year. I just recently changed my KSK logo for the 3rd time now. But on the very first logo that we had and color scheme, because the color scheme and the logo was all packaged in one. I think I changed it after a year. After a year, I believe I changed it. Honestly, it might have been a year and a half. But again, I changed it. I realized that did not go well with who my target market was. And that is extremely important. Again, guys, I want you to stay till the end of this video because I am going to give you a walkthrough of my brand and where it started and where it went. And I'm going to be very detailed on why I changed those things because it made a huge difference in me actually getting to 6 figures in my business. So I want you guys to stay tuned until the end. All right, so next you want to focus on your typography, the type of fonts that you are using in your brand. Now, this is something that people disregard a lot, and a lot of times it will confuse your audience, and your audience, they don't even realize that they're confused, but I promise you, it will confuse them. So one thing you want to make sure that the readability is there. You need to make sure that it is easy to read across every platform, even if you're using smaller fonts. So even if you're using the same font, but you've taken it down to a 10 or an 11, you want to make sure that it's still easy to read for your audience. That is very important. You also want to make sure that it has personality, that it is tying in directly with your brand's value and personality. That is extremely important. So for my coaching business, I went with a classic serif type of font. It's called London. I wanted something that was bold because my brand is bold and excellent. But at the same time, I wanted something that was classic and more on the luxury side because I want you to feel that way. So I told you guys, even when I chose my color scheme, that is why I chose my color scheme. That is also why I chose the font that I did. I will also tell you that I've played around with fonts to see what works best on my different type of content that I put out, whether it's my worksheet, social media content, whatever the case may be. I tested on that, and then I also just tested out in general just to see, does it get the likes and the engagements that I need for it to get on social media, because that is important, and you'll be so surprised that people will be turned off by the font that you use. So you want to make sure that you are choosing something that goes alongside the value of your brand. That is very important. And like I said, you want to make sure it is consistent across all platforms so that no matter where people are seeing it, it still is the same and it still feels the same, because your branding is always going to be about how you make people feel when they look at you. You have so many different moving points and touch points when you are turning a stranger into a client. The one thing where you don't have to physically touch them or physically speak to them, it's your branding. If you can get your branding down pat, and you get your branding to a point where people are attracted to it, where they gravitate to it, then the next thing you have to do is just put out really good content. And after you've put out really good content, now all you have to do is be the expert in the thing that you say you are the expert in. So your branding is that first piece that you want to focus on. And that's why I keep telling you guys to make sure it's consistent across the board, because that's really important. I'll tell you, I have 3 fonts that I use. One may be used as a title font, or one may be used for a body font, or depending on what I'm doing, I may use a certain type of font. But if you look at my brand kit, you will see 3 different fonts on there. You'll see 4 different colors. And I will show you all of that because I want to make it plain and clear for you all, because it has been extremely important to the success of my business. And I think that if you take the time to do this, especially before you quit your corporate job, that this will just give you like that extra leverage when you do decide to leave your job. So next, guys, get some professional photos. Get professional photos. That is very, very important. Make sure that when you are, however you decide to dress, make sure it goes along with the brand that you are putting out there. When I did my photo shoot for Tashima Co., first off, I always like to do like between 4 and 6 outfits. If I can do more, I'll do more. But between 4 and 6 outfits, that way I have images over time. I made sure that not only did I look how I felt, but that I was relatable to the target market that I was going after. So that's very important when you are even considering what you're going to wear in your photo shoot. I also wanted to continue to brand myself, and I did do some more relaxed looks where I did do some with jeans. That made me feel more comfortable, and it also made me more relatable. So think about that when you're doing it. But I would highly recommend, if you can only do one outfit, do one outfit. Just make sure it's a professional outfit. If you have a business, get a professional photo shoot done. There are even, I'll tell you, go to JCPenney's. If all else fails, if you can't get anyone to do a photo shoot for you that's outside and, anything like that, or you don't want to spend a whole lot of money to have different scenes, and I get it, go to JCPenney's. Because you can do those, and they have sales all the time. You can do those for $49.99, $39.99, and just get the digital copy. But I will highly recommend you use in your imaging, make sure you have photo shoots to go alongside that. Even if you're using stock images, make sure it relates to your market. That's very important. Make sure it relates to your market. I won't even go in depth with that. Just make sure it relates to your market. Make sure your market can say, oh, that's me. You get what I say? You get what I mean there? That's very important. Now, one thing I did not add into this branding video is that when you are really thinking about going through your branding, you always want to start with how you want people to feel when they see your brand, and how are you going to be able to portray that in your brand. That is extremely important. Sometimes you have to dig deep and even figure out what's that one word or that one phrase I want to use to describe my brand. Take the time to do that. That is extremely important. It helped me a long way when it comes to deciding what I wanted for my brand. I have my one word. And then once I came up with my one word, and then it was like I had to ask myself, to do what? And I had a coach ask me, to do what? And then it brought me even further down, and it brought me to the point of to be excellent. And that is truly what I strive for. I'm striving in excellence in all of my businesses, even in my YouTube channel. I am striving in excellence for how I help my clientele, and I want them to also strive for excellence. We're not striving to be perfect, but we're striving for excellence. And as long as we continue to do that, we will have profitable brands. And that is extremely important. All right, what's up, beautiful people? So I told you at the beginning of this video that I was going to show you all the journey I have gone through with the branding of my first business, KSK Tax and Accounting Solutions. So right now, what you are seeing on the screen is the start of it all. When I decided to even name my business KSK, it was solely for personal reasons. So one thing I'm going to tell you, if you do not know me, if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I have always known that I was going to own my own accounting business. I just did not know that I would actually do it and be successful in it, and that I would, actually help people through that business. And I did. So when I chose the name KSK, it originated from a henna tattoo that I got in Orlando, Florida, when I went to Universal Studios. I'm giving y'all a little backstory here. And I told the lady that I wanted my great-grandmother's initials, my grandmother, and my grandfather's initials. So Catherine Freeman, Sarah DeWitt, and King David. That is what KSK stands for. The tattoo, and I still have it, I just don't have it for this. It looked like a butterfly. The K, the S, and the K were pretty much together. It looked like a butterfly, and the two K's here kind of reminded me of like the gates to heaven, so to speak. I mean, keep in mind I was young, y'all, and I ran with it. So even when I decided to get a logo made from that, that is the description I gave him. So you see here a pink butterfly, KSK, and somewhat of a maroon color, and you're noticing that it says Tax Inc. I have been through the journey with my KSK Tax and Accounting Solutions business, and this is the start of that journey. This goes against everything that I told you all in the beginning of this video. I want you to keep in mind, I'm going to paint the scene for you. 70% of my clientele are males. 70, and I mean probably more than 70% of my clientele in my accounting business are males. This is not appealing to a man at all. And I'm going to tell you, it did not attract any clientele not naturally, randomly. I didn't get many sporadic strangers or anything like that to approach me about my business when I first led with this. And during this time, this may have been 2015, 2016 when I first launched this. But this is the beginning. This is where it all started. This is when I first started to do taxes on my own. And like I said, I was getting clientele because of my face card and people knew me, they trusted me, but I was not getting random clientele at all. And a big part of that, I believe, came from how I was branding my business at that time. Pink and maroon, it just does not do it. The butterfly has no meaning to it at all, and this just does not correlate with my target audience. Now, what I am going to also tell you guys, I did not know who my target audience was at that time. So when I tell you all to do that groundwork before you get into branding and things of that nature, do the groundwork so that you can fully understand who your target market is. That way, when you start to brand your business, you're branding it so that it relates and it's appealing and attractive to your target market. So of course, I know I told you all earlier, you have to test a lot of your logos, your colors, and things of that nature. This was a test. This was a test. But I remember this time. This was an actual good time. I had a lot of fun doing this and trying to promote my business with this. It just did not work. So I got my logo changed. I started with getting my logo changed, and what I ended up going to was this here. So, and you will notice that it says the Shima agency. I've changed this so many times, guys, to figure it out. This became my second logo. This is, even now, I still have this as my monogram. But this is what it transformed to, and this is kind of what I wanted people to get and feel when they seen my logo. I wanted them to feel that it wasn't necessarily feminine, and that was a big thing for me. So the color switch was huge to me doing the change with my branding. Honestly, was probably the main thing. When I showed you guys that first logo, I did not have a website for that logo at all. So this is my first real website, if I'm being honest. And just to give you all some info, I created this on my own. So if you're in a place where you do not have the funds, if you're just starting out and you do not have the $1,500 or the $2,000 to pay for a really good website, what I am going to tell you is to do it on your own, but do not spend so much time on small, fine details. Do not waste your time. Do not allow the website to be the thing that holds you back from actually launching the business. Because reality check, no one cares. This just shows that you are credible and you're out there, but no one cares. So I spent a lot of time. I probably spent almost a month on this website, and no one cares. So I just want to make sure that I make that clear. So this is where I went with my branding, this color, this kind of feel. Very plain Jane. I wanted to keep it very plain Jane. Men can be very plain Jane. They don't need a lot. They need simplicity. And that's something that I learned. Now, I did eventually get I paid someone to do my website. And if I'm being honest, I did not like this website. But what I ended up changing, and I don't know if you can see the difference, but I can. I changed the blue. So the blue wasn't as dull. It's more of like a blueberry type of blue. And instead of the K's being black, I made them a very dark navy blue. I needed to put some some of me in it, so that it still was, it's still me. I'm a vibrant type of person. This logo is very dull, very, very dull. And I just, it wasn't a good correlation to who I am. So when I tell you to make sure that you're thinking about your target market and your audience, you also want to remember yourself in that. How can you make you still be in whatever it is that you're creating, whether it's the color or the logos? I ended up loving this. This is exactly what I wanted. And this is still pretty much, like I said, my monogram. I have changed it a lot. This is when I got a real professional to do my website. Child, when you get the funds, you get a professional to do your website. And if they are building your website out on Wix, as you can see, these are all Wix websites. They're probably not as professional as you think they are. Go with someone who's probably using a WordPress site. If they're going to be using Wix, baby, you can do your own Wix site. And that's just that on that. But this is what my logo has upgraded to. Like I told you, I still keep the monogram, but now I still say KSK Tax and Accounting Solutions. But on pretty much everything, you're going to just see KSK Accounting. This is how my brand has evolved over the course of I'm just going to say that started in 2015. We're now in 2023. Like, it has evolved. What's that, 7 years? 8 years? Like, it has had to evolve. And I'm going to tell you, when I was here, my clientele were just people that I knew. It was literally word of mouth, my people. The people who trust me, they know I'm a trustworthy person. That's it. That's it. But I'm going to tell y'all, when I changed it to this, I then began to get clients who I did not know. It mattered for me changing from that pink and maroon to this blue and black. It mattered. And if you think for 1 second, oh, I'm going to just go off of what my favorite colors are, baby, you can't do pink and green. You can't do pink and green. As much as you love the combination, you can't do pink and green because it's not appealing to your target market. And when you are branding your business, it is not all about you. It is about your essence. It's about what you're going to be comfortable putting out there, of course. But it's about your market. It's 100% about your market. What are they going to be attracted to? What's going to be appealing to their eyes? Like I told you all in the video, you are not about to just have super neon colors for your branding and your logo when your target market is pushing 60, 70. They don't want to see those neon colors. So that's just something you guys have to think about. But I will tell you, me going from that pink and maroon to this was a 6-figure difference. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend, if you are one of those people who worked on your logo, worked on your website by yourself the first time, listen, I get it. I truly get it. You do not want to start over. You don't want to feel like it's a waste. You put so much time into working on this that you're holding on to it. No one cares. No one cares. No one wants to see it. It's not working. And you have to be okay with parting ways with different things. You all have seen, I went from a pink and maroon logo, a blue and black logo, a blueberry logo, and now I'm here. It's a huge difference, guys. It's a huge difference. And you want to make sure when you are in business that you are evolving, that you are allowing your business and the brand of your business to evolve if it needs to. So I am glad that you stuck to the end. I want you to go ahead and take a look at the videos that I have posted. That's next. YouTube is probably going to give you the best options that you need. So check them out. Every video on my channel is worth it. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure if you know someone who needs to see this, you send it to them. You can tell them to fast forward. That's fine. Tell them to fast forward. But if they need it, send it to them. So, all right, guys. See you on the next video.